Greetings, it's your girl Jackie Blue coming to you with a special solo edition of Podcast 2025 Oscars Final Predictions. The time has come. Tomorrow is the day, is the ceremony, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will very much be excited to be checking into the red carpet looks and to see if my predictions are close. I think I have a good list, and it's a mix of head and heart. So let's dive in. We're going to start with actor in a supporting role. For that category, we have Yura Borisov for Nora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. This is a no-brainer. Kieran Culkin's winning it. He has swept the whole season. It will be Kieran Culkin. Hopefully he has a good speech prepared. He's clever, he's charming, he's, let's be real, playing himself in this film. And it is a co-lead, so I personally would prefer Jeremy Strong for the win, but Kieran did an amazing job and it's undeniable. His speech did go a little long at SAG, and it seemed a bit irreverent, so I hope that he adopts the proper vibe and respectful tone for actor in a supporting role Oscar speech, because he will be making it. Next, we have animated feature film. So that is between Flow, Inside Out 2, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, The Wild Robot, and Memoir of a Snail. I'm going to go with The Wild Robot. I will say Flow could upset here. It could be like last year with The Boy and the Heron versus Spider-Verse Part 2, but I think I'm going to give the edge to The Wild Robot. I did watch both and I just enjoyed The Wild Robot better. And it also has beloved actors as the voiceover actors. So Lupita Nyong'o has won an Oscar. I think she's going to get some love here, and Pedro Pascal. So I'm going with The Wild Robot. I think Flo could upset here though. Next, we have animated short film. So between those, we have Beautiful Men, In the Shadow of the Cypress, Magic Candies, Wander to Wonder, and Yuck. And I'm going with Yuck. I have a knack for guessing these short films, even though I did not actually see any of them. But I did read that Yuck was charming, sweet, and it's funny. It's about kids exploring kissing and being grossed out by it. So I think that this is going to just be that that whimsical, charming piece that everyone's going to want to award. So I'm going with Yuck. For costume design, it's between A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Nosferatu, Gladiator 2, and Wicked. I'm going to go with Wicked. This is also a sure bet, I would say. I don't think it's going to be upset here. If anything upsets, it probably won't be costume design. I would personally choose Gladiator 2 because Denzel in them robes. It was just otherworldly. But we're going with Wicked. Wicked costumes were fabulous, fantastic. And as I watched the film, I was like, these costumes. So sometimes when that kind of happens as you're watching and experiencing the piece, then you know it stands out to others the same way. So over to writing. We have a close competition here in original screenplay. It's between Honora, The Brutalist, September 5, The Substance, and A Real Pain. This is kind of a three-way race. So we had The Substance pick up awards here and there, I think with the Writers Guild, if I'm not mistaken. A Real Pain has won for this in other areas, but I'm going to give the edge to Honora. I think Honora has the momentum, and I think that I just think that that would be the smartest pick here, but there could be an upset. And if there is an upset, my money is with A Real Pain instead of The Substance. All right, best adapted screenplay. We are going with A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. I would give this to Conclave. I think Conclave is going to win this hands down. If there's an upset, I don't think it's likely, but I believe it could be Nickel Boys. Just because that novel was very difficult for many to visualize how it would be adapted into a film and still have the reveals at the end and all of the surprises. And so I think that this will go to Conclave, but um, if there's an upset, it will be Nico Boys. All right, over to makeup and hairstyling. This category is between A Different Man, Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. Again, an easy pick. The Substance is winning this. I don't think there's anything more to say about that. It is and it should. Film editing. Now, this is a fun one. I think this could be, it's a two-person race. The nominees are Honora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and Wicked. Now, it's a two-person race, a two-film race between Honora and Conclave. Honora has a very difficult scene when the lead character, Annie, is abducted by the Russian goons. And that house was very difficult to shoot in because of mirrors and a lot of light problems. And I think Sean Baker did an excellent job just with that scene alone with the goons and Honora and the glass table. That editing is really, really impressive. However, I'm going to go with Conclave because the film wouldn't work unless it was edited the way it was. The source material is not the most riveting. It's really a movie about a bunch of old dudes in robes sitting around voting, and it has that suspense, that thriller vibe, and that is totally attributed to the editing. So I believe Conclave will be awarded here. My pick would be Honora. And if there's an upset, it would be Honora, which Sean Baker did edit himself. He wrote, directed, produced, and edited this film himself. So if he does pick up film editing, in addition to screenplay, director, and film, he will tie with Walt Disney for a very, very elite club of directors, producers, etc., who have won all four of those categories in one night. Next, we're going to actress in a supporting role. This is a contest between Monica Barbaro for Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. This, again, is locked in. It's going to be Zoe. She's been making great speeches all award season. It wouldn't be my pick. Again, I believe this is another instance of category fraud. She is a co-lead and has more screen time than the title character, so this is really a lead role, but she will win it. My personal pick would be Ariana Grande, but that too would probably be category fraud. So it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. Rolling on to sound. For sound, we have nominees: A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. I'm going with Dune Part 2. I think this is a pretty easy one to guess. I do think A Complete Unknown is gaining traction, especially because the team promoting A Complete Unknown has highlighted that sound with all of these outdoor live performances and mixing, etc., was difficult and tricky and handled well. But I do think it's going to go to Dune Part 2. Dune Part 1 also won sound in this category. And unlike the animated films, this category, the technicals don't mind awarding sequels. So, rolling on to music. Best Original Song. We have El Mal from Emilia Perez, The Journey from the 6888, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Mi Camino from Emilia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. So this is an interesting contest here. It is between, I believe, two selections. El Mal, which has kind of been winning. It won Gigi's. It's been winning quite a bit. But those wins were before some of the Carla Sofia Gascon controversies, and they did not have the context of Diane Warren, who is here again with The Journey, nominated for her 16th Academy Award and never having won. So I think it's going to go between El Mal and The Journey. If you are a smart voter, you would go with El Mal because it's been winning. But if there's an upset here, it could be The Journey. I would love to see it. So my pick is for The Journey. I think Diane Warren, she will keep getting nominated until she wins. So maybe they just award her just so they don't have to keep seeing her at these awards ceremonies wanting that win. On another note, none of the songs are very strong, especially since people have kind of turned on Amelia Perez. And I believe that's the reason why the original songs won't be performed at the ceremony this year. And that is a first. These songs will not be performed, but that's okay with me because I don't particularly want to hear any of them. I do think The Journey is the best of them all in terms of just song. So, my money's on The Journey, but if I were you, I'd go with El Mal. That might be a hard choice, and especially because Zoe Saldana is the star of El Mal. This is her one of her big moments in the film. They might give it to her because of that. All right. Documentary short film. This is between Death by Numbers, I Am Ready Warden, Incident, Instruments of a Beating Heart, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra. So these shorts are actually pretty tight this year. I think Yuck is probably a sure bet, but this one not so much. I'm going with Incident. Incident is my pick, and that is a film about a shooting in Chicago where they pull footage and kind of piece together what happened in a police shooting of a Black person. And so I do think that film kind of resonates the most and is likely to win. However, The Only Girl in the Orchestra has been heavily promoted. I believe it's a Netflix, and anytime Netflix is behind a film, you know it's going to get a lot of promotion. So it could be The Only Girl in the Orchestra. I'm going to go with Incident though, because I think that it sounds to me like the better film and the more impactful experience. Rolling on to documentary feature film, another nail biter. Y'all, this season will go down in history as the most chaotic and messy. So we have Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. A lot of people are going with No Other Land. It did not have a distributor. This is a film about the West Bank, and it has Palestinians kind of working together with Israelis to put together this documentary about how settlement in the West Bank is displacing Palestinians there. And so because that reason, it was not picked up by a distributor, but it has gotten a lot of traction online, a lot of people, a lot of love for it. However, Porcelain War also has a lot of support, and that one's about artists making art during the war in Ukraine as a means to just continue life through the assault from Russia. And so we have two major war situations that have these films out, and it's kind of, I think it will go to Porcelain War just because the Ukrainian war with Russia is less controversial than the Palestinian conflict with Israelis. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Porcelain War here. You could expect maybe an upset for No Other Land, and people are going either way. That's a tough one to call. So we'll see. We will see. All right, rolling on to production design. We have The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. This, I believe, is also locked and loaded. This is not a nail biter. I believe it will go to Wicked. I think it should go to Wicked. The weakest song in that film, I believe, was Dancing Through Life. Sorry, Jonathan Bailey. It was, but it was an opportunity to show off that cool spinny thing, and like the set was just incredible. So, Wicked will win here. If there's an upset, it will be The Brutalist, but I don't think that's likely. All right, visual effects. We have this contest between nominees Alien, Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. And so I'm going with Dune Part 2 here. I think that the technical categories are going to go to Dune. It is nominated in Best Picture. And again, when it comes down to Best Picture nom versus non, I think it's best to go with the one that's nominated for Best Picture. And the upset here would be Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I do believe it has better special effects, and it has, I think that's widely accepted in the industry, but I think people will vote for Dune Part 2 for this category, for visual effects. So if there's a spoiler, it will be Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but I'm going with Dune Part 2. All right, international feature. This one. We have I'm Still Here, The Girl with the Needle, Emilia Perez, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and Flow. So this is an interesting category. We have Flow here, which is an animated film from Latvia. And so not often do you get animated crossover with international, but here we are. I don't think Flow will win though. I think this is a contest between Emilia Perez and I'm Still Here. Now, Emilia Perez would have won this hands down before the Carla Sofia Gascon controversy, but it did happen and we can't ignore it. I also think that at the Golden Globes, which again, I kind of eschew because again, the voting does not overlap with Oscars voting body, and I think that they are quite biased and not great. But the Golden Globes are an opportunity for people to give speeches and to impress folks with the idea that having them win the Oscar would be very meaningful and that they could give a really have an impressive moment on stage. And Fernanda Torres did that at the Golden Globes. She did give a great speech. She shouted out her mom. She talked about the history of what happened in Brazil during that time under that government. And so the momentum here has followed Fernanda Torres quite a bit since the Golden Globes, while Emilia Perez has kind of sank due to the controversies around it being a French film and taking place in Mexico, but with no real Mexican like culture, references, personnel. There's one Mexican actress. Even the songwriters, the song, it wasn't filmed. I mean, a lot of problems with Emilia Perez. However, it still could win. The Academy is notoriously stubborn and with ignoring controversy and voting how they want anyway. Woody Allen. And so I think I'm going to go with I'm Still Here, but it could very well be Emilia Perez. I would be very disappointed, but not surprised. Alrighty. Live action short. This is between nominees Aline, Anuja, I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, and The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent. For this category, I'm going with Anuja. This one is also Netflix. It is backed by Mindy Kaling, and I just think that it has that heartstrings pulling vibe and also has a wider distribution, is probably going to be seen by the most people. With that being said, I have heard whispers, word out on the street, that Aline could win. It deals with immigration. And The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent also is on some people's list favorited to win. But I'm kind of going to say that with the Netflix behemoth, I think that will help here with Anuja, um, even though I didn't go with it for the last girl in the orchestra. I think here is where it will triumph. So, um, don't quote me, no clue. I haven't seen it. Cinematography is next, and the nominees are The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. Now, this is definitely going to The Brutalist. This is kind of a one of those locked and loaded, um, sure bet categories. However, I think the more deserving person here would be Maria Ed Lockman, and it has been awarded for other Guild Awards. Maria was, but I just think Lal Crawley, especially with the budget that they had for The Brutalist, will triumph here. If there's an upset, it would be Maria, and I wouldn't be mad at it because that film was gorgeous. Boring, but gorgeous. Yes. Nosferatu, no, Dune Part 2 could also upset, or Nosferatu. Actually, this could go to anything but Amelia Perez, I think. But my money's on The Brutalist, and I think if there's an upset, it would be Maria. All right, music, original score. Nominees are The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. This is easy peasy. It's going to be The Brutalist. It's sad that Challengers was not here. Quite curious because that was the best score of last year, but them's the breaks. All right, now we are on to top categories. We have actors in a leading role. So this is going to be a contest between Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. So, I thought this was a done deal. I thought this was sure. I thought it was going to be Adrian Brody. And then Timothy Chalamet won the SAG. But the SAG Award win was after voting closed for the Academy Awards. Adrian Brody won the BAFTA. And usually when there is a dispute, it goes BAFTA as opposed to SAG. But I'm going with Adrian Brody. I do think his performance, as much as he's really annoying, and I still haven't forgiven him for that Halle Berry sexual assault at his first win, I think the performance was really, really amazing. Timothy Chalamet did do great as well, and I would love to see him usurp Adrian by beating him in this category and take his place as the youngest to ever win for actor in a leading role. I'd be happy with that, honestly, because again, I'm not the biggest Adrian Brody fan, but I think Adrian will triumph here. Special shout out to Sebastian Stan, who did an excellent job, scarily good job as Trump and Sebastian and The Apprentice. And if I had my druthers, Coleman Domingo would win for Sing Sing, just because it was such just a simply divine performance from top to bottom. All right, directing. We are going with, the nominees are Sean Baker for Nora, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, and Coralie Fargiat for The Substance. This is a tight race. All of these are going to be tight. Like, honestly, this award season is, I just can't. Unprecedented. However, Sean Baker has the Directors Guild award on his side. And it is not often that the Academy goes against the DGA. Now, Brady Corbet won the BAFTA. I believe he also won the Golden Globe, but again, I don't really use the Golden Globe so much, but I do know that Brady Corbett's speech for the GGs didn't land great with folks. He has a reputation for being kind of pompous and smarmy, and I think that has hurt his campaign. And also, I don't think people love his acceptance speeches, whereas Sean Baker gives amazing speeches promoting independent film and going to see films at the cinema, and really kind of makes films about the underdogs and the underbelly of life. And I think people will really want to reward him here for this and his body of work, the Florida Project, like just a number of things. Brady is a lot younger and is also an actor turned director. So I do think I'm going to go with Sean Baker, but Brady Corbett could definitely upset. So look out for that one. It's a tough one to call, y'all. All right, actress, 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 actress. Why is it every year? This is just the tightest race. I think it's because there's just such a plethora of talent. When you are looking at female actors in general, that is just kind of on a higher level than male actors in general. And that's the case from local film and theater on up. You often see productions where the women are top tier and the men are like questionable. I'm biased, yes, I'm biased. But this category is, it's going to be tough. It's a three-way duke out between, well, the nominees are Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. So Carla Sofia Gascon is off the table. Amelia Perez is not going to win here. She is the first openly trans actress to be nominated in this leading role category. I don't think it is deserved. I think it should have been supporting, and Zoe should have been in lead because, again, even though she's the title character, the movie kind of follows Rita more than it does Amelia in the film. And Zoe Saldana's character is the center of the film, and it kind of goes from her POV even before Amelia is introduced. But with this controversy and stuff, she's lucky Netflix will even let her attend the Oscars, because the last several awards, she's been MIA, and rightly so. So she will not win. Cynthia Erivo will not win. They're probably waiting till next year till they see her whole character arc with Wicked Part 2. So this is a three-way race. This is a three-way race between Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Now, notoriously, when the GGs mattered more, the two that won there were front runners for the Oscars. However, Mikey has picked up Independent Spirit Award, which she won over like all leads this year, including male and female. And she won the BAFTA and an upset, and really every other critic. She won Critics' Choice, the film Honora won. But she has won a lot of regional film awards for Honora. And I think her momentum is going to push her over the edge. I do think there is still a lot more of the Academy that will resist a horror film, a horror performance. It could go to Demi, though, because she's been in the industry a long time. And again, that Golden Globe speech was really impressive. People loved it. And she's been doing great on the awards circuit. I did think her SAG speech got really long and rambly and meandering. It was a word salad, and I hope she digs up some better material for the Oscar if she wins it. But Fernanda could upset here. Fernanda was not nominated for the BAFTA, for SAG. Her film was kind of rising when those nominees were already set. So she could be a wild card here. But that's kind of why I'm going with Mikey, because I think that Fernanda could pilfer off some votes that would have gone to Demi, and that the folks that are voting for Mikey are firmly for Mikey and probably wouldn't go for Fernanda. So I think Fernanda as the wild card being here and having a late break in popularity and exposure, she could upset, she could win. But I think what's more likely is she will take some of those votes from Demi and it will go to Mikey. And I also will remind folks last year, um, we had Emma Stone win the BAFTA for Poor Things, and then Lily Gladstone won the SAG. I went with Lily Gladstone for the Oscar and lost. So I think when it's this kind of precursor situation, it has gone to who BAFTA chooses. And again, BAFTA chose Mikey, I think 2 days before Oscar voting ended. So folks seeing her upset that way who hadn't voted yet may also vote for Mikey. I'm going with Mikey. It's a gut call too. I would be happy with Demi winning, maybe less so with Fernanda. I still like, y'all. I guess I hold grudges, but I couldn't unsee that blackface situation, and unfortunately, it was a factor as I watched. I'm still here, so I kind of wished I had found out about it and seen it after seeing the film. But also, I did want Fernanda's character to give us some sort of breakdown to show us what she was grappling with internally. It was also composed and so tight and so controlled. I wanted to see the inside, what was behind it, and we never got that moment, sadly. Who should have been here is for Heart Truths, Marianne Jean Baptiste. I think she probably should have won and she should have been here. But I'm going with Mikey. Also, that girl screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed, and it is very hard to scream. And it was a very physical performance, just with fighting the thugs and all that. So, like, yeah, I think she definitely earned it if she wins. And then we have Best Picture. This is the biggest contest of the night. We have 10 nominees. I think there's too many of them here. But it is a contest between nominees Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. So, I'm going with Anora. It was my early pick for favorite. After I saw it, watching all these films, I've seen them all this year. And watching them all, I had started to feel like, are none of these gonna like get me and make me be like, yes, that was the one, that was the one. Because after I saw Nickel Boys, I saw Sing Sing, which didn't make it here. I saw The Substance early days. I saw Conclave early days. I saw Dune Part 2. And throughout those, I still was like, none of those would I say like just the movie of the year. You know, at that point, I still was feeling like I preferred challengers to all of those, which also probably should have been here. But when I saw Wicked, that was probably one of my favorite theater going experiences this year. It was so magical. It was so epic. But also there will be a part two, and I know it's just not going to happen. So that moment for me was Anora. When I saw Anora after I finished Anora, that final moment in the car, it got me, and it's lasted with me, and I think it will have that effect on others, and that's why it's surging like it is with the DGA, the PGA wins, and the Critics' Choice. I think Honora, the character, was just completely charming. And even though most of us aren't sex workers, I identified with her and her struggle. I don't think you have to be a sex worker to jump at the chance to marry a rich oligarch of any sort. So, like, I think that translates anyway to the everyday people watching. And I personally was just really, really bothered that they took her ring like that. I'm a lover of jewelry. I love rings, and the whole rest of the film, I was almost distracted trying to figure out when she could like sneak and steal it back out of that guy's pocket. I did deduce that the only time he didn't have the jacket on and he stuck the ring in his pocket was when they were on the plane and he was sleeping. So at that moment, I'm like, oh, she needs to steal it back. But obviously, we now know. Spoiler alert. Um, the goon does it. Yura Borisov's character actually steals it back for her and presents it to her in this final scene. And it just is a very moving moment. A little hopeful, a little devastating. You don't know what happens next, and I really just loved it. Now, Conclave did come through with a final surge for BAFTA. It won BAFTA, which was expected because it's a British film, right? So that's not an upset. But it also won SAG. And I will say that wasn't unexpected either because Honora isn't really an ensemble film. It's really Mikey Madison and then Yura Borisov also, who is nominated for Best Supporting. And so with SAG Awards, they're kind of nominating the cast as an ensemble. And so I do think that Honora was likely not going to win this either way. It was going to be Conclave or even Wicked or Emilia Perez if it hadn't had so much controversy. Because those are more like group films, a complete unknown too. You just had more people to nominate even in those films. So I think that there is an explanation for why Conclave won BAFTA and SAG. It could win here. It could be a lot of people's number two, but I think that it's more likely to hang around the middle. And I think Honora is a lot of people's one and two. So for that reason, and I'm maybe a little bit hope dicting, I'm going with Honora for Best Picture. Final answer. So those are my picks. Locked and loaded. It's happening tomorrow. We will see. I'm excited to see this red carpet. I'm excited to see just candid moments, and I'm excited to see these speeches and to see if I'm right, how many I'm gonna get out of the 23. So good luck all on your ballots, and I will see you tomorrow for an after the show reflection. Thanks, y'all. Bye.